So product research is where most people mess up, and that's not good because when it comes to selling on Amazon, picking the right products to sell is definitely the biggest factor when it comes to succeeding or ending up losing your money. So this video is going to be a deep dive into exactly how to do product research the right way in 2020. What's working now to find winning, profitable products that could be scaled up into $1 million brand. And this is gonna be a dense video. There's a lot in here. We're gonna be going over my shoulder into the computer. You'll be seeing this stuff. So if you need to save this video, come back to it twice, that's totally fine. This is something you wanna study. This is important. This is not an area where you just want to watch one quick, super short video and jump right in and end up losing your money. And one important thing before we dive into the computer is you need to understand that there's really two parts of product research. There's what I refer to as the top of the funnel and then the narrowing of the funnel. And this video and really the most important aspect of product research is how you do the narrowing, because you can have ideas for products from anywhere. You could come up with every product in the world, but what really matters is how do you determine what's going to work within the parameters of Amazon? How do you sift through those products? So I will touch on some top of the funnel methods, but this is mostly the evaluation, which is really the important part. And by the way, this is exactly what's in my Zero to Brand program. So you're getting a taste of that right here for free. Okay, so jumping into this, we need to talk tools real quick, just so this makes sense. In this video, I'm going to be using Helium 10. So we'll be looking at Blackbox and XRay. But in my previous product research guide, I was using Jungle Scout, the main Jungle Scout web app and the extension. Either one is fine, whether you use Helium 10, Jungle Scout, Viral Launch, whatever, that doesn't really matter. They're doing the same core thing, and there are links in the descriptions to discounts for what I recommend, but it doesn't matter. Don't get too held up on which one you're using and, oh my God, he's using a different one than I'm using. They're all relatively the same. So here's what XRay or the Jungle Scout Chrome extension do, because this is going to be crucial to your evaluation. So here I have the search results pulled up on Amazon for baking sheets, because I was actually researching this last night because I need to order a baking sheet. So when we have search results pulled up, I could either run Jungle Scout or Helium 10. And in this case, we're going to use XRay for this particular tutorial. So what this basically does is looks at the products that are showing up and does a lot of calculations against a huge pool of data that these software companies have to basically give you estimations on the actual revenue, how much of these products are really selling. So for example, here we can see some insane estimated revenue, like $599,000 per month of this product. That is just crazy. And then you can see it gets down here into the 30,000 range, 20,000 range, 60,000, 20,000. So tons and tons of revenue here. And don't get ahead of yourself. Just because there's a lot of revenue here does not mean that's a good product. We're going to be getting through the main points in just a minute. I just need to set this up. You can see the sales over time. You can see the estimated FBA fee, which is based on the actual size and weight of that particular product. So you can figure out how much it would cost in fees if you were to source this product. You can see the bestseller rank, the rating, the reviews. You can see these things over time and basically everything you need to know at a quick glance. This is stuff that you could do for free manually, but you can see that a tool like this allows you to take a huge overview extremely quickly, basically one click. And then let me give you a quick overview of Blackbox. What Blackbox is going to do is basically allow you to search all of Amazon based on different criteria and spit out products that meet the criteria that you put in. And I've talked about this a ton in the past, but you don't want to put in exact criteria that some guy in a YouTube video tells you to put, because when you do that, you're going to end up getting the same results as everybody else. So you need to play with these things. You know, maybe you look at a slightly higher price point than normal, or a little bit more reviews or less reviews than normal, and you start narrowing down into different categories. And again, this is a top of the funnel method just to start the process. So for example, just to show you how this works, and don't copy these criteria, I'm sure some of you will pause to see what I put, but it's just an example. You run the tool and it spits out products that are meeting the criteria that you put. So here you're getting a whole bunch of results, and these are just starting points for where you would continue to dig in and look at other related products. But the top of the funnel method could really be anything from a tool like this, or to looking around the store shelves, getting ideas on Instagram, looking around your house, thinking stuff up, you know, what are your friends buying? What are you buying? And then from there, going down the rabbit hole of what else is this seller selling? What else does this product go with? And these are just before you even get into the actual evaluation. These are just products to run through the evaluation funnel that we're now finally about to start, but I think that preface was needed. So this evaluation criteria is going to be broken into 5 parts, and they're all incredibly important, but the way it kind of works is as you go down the funnel, if it fails the test of that number, you're kind of back to the start. And again, these 5 are exactly in my Zero to Brand program, which with a much deeper dive, but just so you know, you're getting some pretty high quality information right here for free. And also in this video, there's going to be a 6th bonus criteria that I'm adding for 2020. So that will be the last one. First criteria, market size. This is pretty much evaluating the overall market health. And this is just a test to simply see, is there revenue flowing here? Because a mistake that I see all the time is people just get into a product where there's just simply no revenue flowing. And this is incredibly powerful, the fact that we can get an idea of how things are selling on Amazon. And never take these numbers to be exact truth. You know, compare them to some other software, do some research in manual ways as well. But the fact that we can get an idea of what is selling already is insanely valuable. And it's just absurd that we even have access to this. So given that, why would you ever want to get into a product where the number 1 seller is doing $500 a month in sales and then the number 5 seller is doing $20 a month in sales? It's just a dead market. There's no revenue there. So this initial test is just, is there revenue flowing? We're not getting into the nuance of how that revenue is distributed. We'll get to that in a second, but this is just, is there even revenue? Because if there's not even revenue, then even if you win, you lose. And you want to win. You don't want to be number 1 and still lose, because that sucks. So at this stage, it's really rough, but you just want to see some sellers in the range that you are hoping to sell. You're not looking for an exact distribution yet, but you're just looking, is there money flowing here or not? Can I pass this test and go into number 2 or not? Now, number 2 is really the key skill set of this entire process. And this is the one that takes practice, and there's a lot of nuance to it. And this is what you get better and better at over the years. And this point alone could easily become a 5-hour long video, and I'm not gonna do that right here, right now. So I want to give you this in a condensed but highly valuable way. So this is evaluating the market size versus the competition. This is pretty much your competitive analysis, your market analysis. Is there room for me to break into this market and succeed? And this particular example, which I am showing you here, is not an example of what to look for. This is just an example of a really competitive, really high revenue product, which would probably not pass the test, but I'll get into some nuances here in just a second. But the overall game that you're playing here in step number 2 is, can I fit into the mix of revenue versus the overall number of sellers? And I'm factoring in reviews. Can I play this game with these sellers? Can I fit in there and do my revenue goal, which might be $8,000 a month for my first product, or $10,000 or $12,000? Not $1 million. We'll get to that later in the video. But this is just, can I get in there and have my first success, or am I going to get absolutely obliterated and crushed by the competition? And this is the one where people will give you exact criteria. You want to see this many people on the first page having this much revenue under this many reviews. But the reason that doesn't make sense is that all these things are in balance with each other. So maybe you get into a small, non-competitive market, or you get into a medium market, or you get into a large market with a lot of competition, but a lot of room for a lot of players. So these things are all in balance, and that's why I said this one is nuanced. So it's about figuring out, is there the right balance of revenue to overall market size? So one thing that you would not want to be seeing here would be, let's say the top 2 results were doing $12,000 and $10,000 per month, which great, that's exactly where I want to be. But let's say right below that, it immediately went to $1,200, $800, $1,000, $500, $400, $300, $200, and then there were 25 more listings only doing $100 to $400 per month. That would be an absolute no, because chances are you're going to end up not being the number 1 or 2 in this market. That is not necessarily your goal, is to be the absolute number 1 dominating, because that's hard. It's much more realistic to think, how could I find a market where even if I threw a dart and hit the middle, I'd be doing my revenue goal of $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 per month. And by the way, the reason I'm using those numbers as rough guidelines, again, rough, but that is a general, roughly safe place to be, where you're still getting a good level of success without playing with these serious big dogs going for 50K, 100K a month products. And if you get a product to 10K a month, you're probably profiting about $3,000 a month, which is definitely not bad. And that's a good first product in the portfolio, which is a hint at how this really becomes a $1 million product. To turn that example into one which might actually look good, maybe your top couple results would be $20,000 to $30,000 in revenue, and then perhaps you have 10 or 20 or 10 or 15 that are all doing in that $6,000 to $14,000 range, and then there are a handful that are sucking at the bottom. That sounds a lot more of a mix where you could fit in and still do your goals, especially if you can point to reasons why the top ones are succeeding and reasons why the losers are losing, because then you can start to use this to formulate how are you really going to attack this. And at this stage, you're also factoring in things like reviews. For example, are the only successful ones the ones that have thousands and thousands of reviews, and anything below 500 reviews, there's a massive drop off, and that's where all the people are fighting for scraps? Then that's probably going to be one that's tough to really give a good solid run. And last point on this topic, I just want to reiterate how this varies based on the market size. So it's market size versus competition. Maybe there's only 3 competitors, but it's a very small market and everyone is doing 9,000, 8,000, and 5,000, and it's nobody's looking at this market, and you could fit in there with an easy first product. That has potential. On the other hand, maybe it's a massive market with pages and pages and pages of products and people doing 100K a month, but there's, in that middle range, there's a huge amount of people that are doing healthy revenue, and then that could still be doable. So understand this is a massive sliding scale, and there's no exact market size, an exact number of competitors, an exact number of reviews, or anything that you're looking for. What you're looking for is an opportunity that makes sense when you evaluate it as a whole. And one last tip on this one, because like I said, this is really the core of everything, so I want to give one extra deep dive type of tip, is you really need to evaluate these as what I call the niche within the niche. Because if you look here at these search results, there are all different types of baking sheets going on here. So what I would really want to be doing is evaluating it based on sub niches. You know, are you comparing all the silicone ones? Are you comparing all the non-stick ones? Are you comparing all of the stainless steel ones, like the one that I was looking to buy? And then you're doing this evaluation step just within that niche. So you can't always be looking at just the broad niche that you think is the niche, because maybe the niche is actually just this subset of the market. And you'd repeat the whole process when honed in. You'd then evaluate how is the market within this market? How many competitors are here? How much revenue is here? How are these guys competing with each other? And you're doing that on a sub scale, because that's where you're actually now looking to compete. Now, third step in product selection is factoring in how you're going to compete by differentiating your product to stand out amongst the competition. Why would somebody looking at these search results buy yours and not the ones that are there? You need a reason. And this particular example is difficult, and I'm using that for a reason, because some products are much easier to differentiate than others. Some you might really struggle to find ways to be special, to stand out, to create a compelling offer where people want to buy yours. And that's what this step is all about. And if you don't do this step, even if all the numbers make sense and everything, maybe you do succeed for a little while, but you're going to end up being crushed by more and more competition because there's nothing really unique to you. So this step is all about thinking, you know, is something wrong with the sizing, the quality, the colors, the materials? Can I package it different? Can I bundle it with another accessory that people really want, or some kind of upgrade? Or even price can be a differentiator, though be careful with that when you don't always want to just drive prices to the bottom. That is not a fun game to play, but maybe you could be more premium and come in at a higher price point, like a golden one. I'm kidding, probably not for a baking sheet, but that is something you absolutely need to factor into your product research selection process, not just once you decide on the product. And that's why I'm putting it here at step 3, is to factor in, does this product have ways that I could stand out and fit into that competition that we talked about in step number 2? Because if we don't have a way to compellingly stand out in that level of competition, then we're just going to end up drowning in the competitors that are already there and new ones that are coming. And this step is where you need to get really creative. You know, you can look through reviews, read the positives, read the negatives, understand this market and what people want. Think about it yourself. Think about what is missing here. What are the complaints? What are the shortcomings of this product? And are there ways that I can create a better customer experience? Maybe not only in the physical product itself, but how can I make this a better overall experience in terms of what else is included, or information, or guides, or photos, or videos, or what can I do to make it stand out? All right, and step 4 in this process is where the single product becomes the $1 million brand. And this is really the juicy stuff. This is what absolutely matters if you want to, say, instead of just have a small little success that maybe has a short life and makes money for a little while or loses money and then dies, or do you want to build something that is sustainable, growable, scalable, sellable, all of those things? And I definitely urge you to be thinking this way if you want a protectable business. So I'm talking about picking a product that can be built out into a brand, a product that can become a product line. I will link up a video here specifically about this topic, so I don't have to spend 50 hours just explaining this, but this is part of selecting the product number one. This is not something you think about later. This is something that has to be baked into the equation of the first product, because if the first product has the ability to expand into 5, 10 related products, serving the same customers, selling the same customers over and over and over, that is a lot more equity and easy to do that than to just start over the process from scratch every single time. This is what allows you to crush the future competitors who come into your niche, because now you have this protected thing with a lot of reviews and a lot of brand authority, and you can launch more related products and crush anybody that doesn't have any of those things. And again, there's a reason why this is at step 4 in the process, and that is because if a product can meet all the other requirements in terms of numbers, but it's not something that's scalable or growable, you need to factor that into the overall potential of this product, because the overall potential of one product is not just the one product, it's the brand that you're starting. So at this step in the process, you want to be thinking about what else could you sell in the future if you launched this product. And maybe that's different types of the same thing, different sizes of the same thing. You can look at what people are buying together with this product to get ideas. In this case, they're pretty related, but sometimes you'll see other products. This is just one example, but you'll see other products that are bought with this product. You can look and see what else this brand or seller is selling, and you can start to brainstorm, what is this brand? Is it a baking brand? Is it a cooking brand? Is it a stainless steel brand? Is it a kitchen and home everything brand? But those things are what you need to be thinking about even this early in the process, or else you're really stunting the potential growth of whatever single product you start with. And then the 5th step, and this one is the best example of if it doesn't pass this, it's just back to go. This is profitability. So if your product that you are finding just turns out to not be profitable at the level that you need it to, then it's just not really going to work out unless you can find out some magical way to get the product so cheap, or raise the price enough that the margin does become okay. But the margin that you're going to be looking for is really minimum 30 to 35, and that's really low, but really 35 to 40% plus, which is product retail price minus the costs of your product, including getting it to Amazon, minus all of the fulfillment fees before advertising though, because your actual profit margin is going to include your ability to spend money on ads to acquire those sales. So here you can see the FBA fee calculator, which you can just Google FBA fee calculator and you can use it. You can plug in an exact product. By the way, the Chrome extensions will also have a lot of this built in, but I still for some reason just prefer to go the old school way a lot of the time, at least to confirm things. But here you can put in a price if it was sold at this price, and for sake of the example, this product, it weighs 4.9 pounds. So that's why these fees are getting way up there, which means this product would have to be quite cheap to source for it to make any sense whatsoever. So if this product costs $4 to source and $3 to get it into Amazon, then you'd be at a 36% margin, which is not bad. That's pretty solid, but I would love to see that higher. But this step right here is so crucial, and you really need to spend time here and make sure, as you're evaluating hundreds of different products, that the ones that make it to the top of your list of the ones that you're serious about sourcing are the ones that are also highly profitable. And super important point here, this is not just about being greedy and wanting to make more money. If you have a product that has a low margin, 20%, 15%, it's not that you're just going to be making less money, it's that you're probably going to end up making no money by the time that you spend a bunch on ads, by the time that you have to reinvest all that money into inventory, because now the ROI on your money is so incredibly low. You have to spend all this money just to make this much money, so the cash flow equation becomes all messed up. So you really need a highly profitable product to give this a serious run. And at this stage in the process, you don't know the exact costs for your product. You haven't actually gone through all this sourcing stuff yet. But at this stage, I would just send out rough quotation requests to suppliers on Alibaba, even looking around AliExpress. You're just trying to get a rough idea at this stage, not an exact official quotation. So just shoot the supplier a quick message, how much for 500 of these, how much for 1,000 of these, just to start plugging in numbers and estimating with your shipping costs. You could get a quote if you don't know. You can ask the supplier for a quote just to get a rough idea. That's not what I would end up going with ultimately, but it's a good way to get a rough idea just so you can start running the numbers and understanding if you're even in the range that you need to be. All right, you've almost made it through all of this, so good job on actually having the attention span, because I think that's one of the traits that is going to lead you to success. So this last criteria is something that I've only learned through years of experience, honestly, and it took me burnout and a lot of negative things to realize this. And this Additional criteria is how much do you care about this product? How much fun is it for you to work with this product and this brand? Is this something you can really see yourself working with long term? Because when you're just starting out, the money alone might be the biggest motivator that you need. And that's totally fine. But eventually you might get completely sick of this product that you hate. So having some level of passion, some level of excitement is definitely a huge bonus. Don't swing too far into that direction and end up selling something that you care about that doesn't make sense with any of the numbers, because then you will lose. But if it can have some elements of something fun and exciting that you can build a brand around and create content and social media and all this stuff, that's going to be a huge bonus. And I'll also link up a video I did specifically on that topic, because I think it's important to factor that in if you don't want to burn out and end up neglecting things. So again, do not rush this process. That's one of the mistakes that I see people doing all the time. They just jump right in too soon. But at the same time, once you do your diligent research, you ultimately do have to just pull the trigger. And if you want to go deeper on this, I have a few resources for you to check out next. First off is an hour-long training I did that will be linked in the description. That is at zerotobrandcourse.com/free training. That's an hour-plus long deep dive into a lot of what we just talked about in even more detail. We really give a lot of concrete examples of this 5-step criteria process in that free training. And then also for those of you that are really serious about diving into this business and want everything A to Z in one place, I do offer my Zero to Brand program, which starts you at the very beginning, even if you know nothing about this business model, gets you up to launching and selling on Amazon and also laying the foundation for scaling your brand over the coming years. So that is at zerotobrandcourse.com, linked in the description as well. There are 110 plus videos, 11 hours of content in there, private group community for continued help. It is really all there. And there's also a few more resources down there in the description. I won't bore you talking through any more of them, but please do smash the like button and subscribe to this channel, hit the bell, do those things if you have not already. Greatly appreciate it for the YouTube algorithm, as well as pushing this video out to help more people. You can also follow me on Instagram at Loberstein to see what I'm up to. And again, I hope this video was extremely valuable to you. Save it, come back to it, share it with a friend, whatever you need to do. But I really wish you success in this business. It is an incredible opportunity. It is not easy. There's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of things that you need to know to do it right. But again, product research is the absolute core of this. So I hope this cleared some things up with you on that. And thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.